FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
But at one point in your youth, about 16 as I recall, you end up going to the governor's office. Oh, yeah. The governor at the time of California was a guy named Ronald Reagan.
Ronnie too.
His name was Ronnie too. So little Ronnie went to see Big Ronnie.
That's right.
At the State House. How'd you get in the State House? What were you doing there? And what kind of conversation did you have with Ronald Reagan as a 16-year-old? What were y'all talking about?
Well, no, he was a very, very kind brother, you know. He was saluting my brother, and I thought that was good judgment. He invited the family to his place, and we went in, of course, with our own style and dignity. And he began talking about the race problem, and I told him I was just earlier that day spending time with the Black Panther Party. I was part of their breakfast program. And he didn't have kind things to say about the Black Panther Party. I mean, you would think it was Black Al-Qaeda or something. I said, no, they're not terrorists. No, they're trying to police the police. Your police tend to be trigger happy. They often abuse black poor, and they're trying to police the police. That's a democratic gesture. Because arbitrary police power is probably the most vicious problem in a democracy. If you don't have fair rule of law, if you don't have fair, just police power, the democracy is going to be truncated, in many ways impoverished. And so I told him I love the love that the Black Panther Party expressed for poor people. And I said, as a Christian, I totally believe that there's great joy in loving everybody. And there's great joy in loving poor people. Not helping poor people from a distance, not condescension philanthropy, but celebrating their humanity, even given there are human inadequacy. And he said, well, it's a very interesting point of view there, brother. Because the thing about Ronald Reagan was he was a very kind person in terms of horizontal interpersonal dynamics. He just had vicious policies when it came to poor people and working people, you see. And so he's the kind of brother I could actually kick it with in the gym for about 20 minutes after a shower because he was kind. If we had a political dialogue, things were going to get very intense.
So you're in the governor's office at 16 having a conversation with then Governor Ronald Reagan, who of course went on later to become president.
Unfortunately.
A couple years later.
Oh, that legacy, that set us back, that indifference to poor people, greed running amok, polarizing the body politic, using race and other ideological tools to scapegoat the most vulnerable. Began his campaign in Philadelphia, Mississippi, calling for states' rights, nothing but a code word for white supremacist control of Negroes. We know that. The whole Republican Party would reshape itself by that kind of subtle and not so subtle white supremacist deployment, tactics and so on. The Southern strategy that the so-called spinsters used was just a way of demonizing the weak. Later on it would be gay brothers and lesbian sisters. Later on it would be Arabs and so forth and so on. And of course our Jewish brothers and sisters are always candidates given the deep levels of Jewish hatred in any Christian inflicted influence civilization, you see. So that Reagan and the Republican Party usher in a whole age from 1980 up until a few months ago, with the age of Obama commencing, bringing the age of Reagan to a close.